Following the previous lecture on foundations, based on, I will try to describe some case studies from Greece, based also from the experience of Common Space, but talking also widely how participatory processes have been integrated to the country's planning system and also to the logic of several projects. As we discussed in the lecture and the previous lecture, we had two distinct, let's say, waves of participation in planning. One in 60s and 70s, and one after the crisis of 2000, after the debt crisis 2008, 2012. So in a sense, those two chronological scenarios apply also in Greece. We had an initial phase of, one moment. Okay. We had an initial phase of participatory initiatives during the 80s, particularly during the first government of the first socialist government of PASOK in after 1981. The new government back then initiated a project of revising the urban plans of many cities in Greece. One of it was Thiva, the city of Thiva. Part of the project included some community engagement processes that were very pioneering for their time. But unfortunately, this project did not commence the following years, it stopped, and more or less the whole idea started to diminish in the 90s and 2000s. So we have a second wave in 2011, where participation was included in several projects in a variety of directions, as we're going to see. In this second wave, I think that we have two issues that we need to highlight. First of all, that in the Greek case, participation was initiated also due to institutional conditions and challenges. First of all, we have the European policies that many of them require community engagement methods to be introduced in several stages of planning and project implementation. In the image, we see a poster of the stakeholder engagement process as part of the Sustainable Mobility Plan of the municipality of Paleophalliro. All the municipalities during their SMP's preparation had the obligation, as per legislation, as per EU directives, to follow community engagement processes and participatory processes. But they were done, let's say, in a minimum scale with basic stakeholders and without any high level of participatory initiatives. So the second element is that, and again, this also applies from EU policies, that community engagement is considered an important element in the context of just transition and climate change adaptation. To highlight this means that changes that we have to do in the process of adapting to climate change needs to be aligned with community needs. And this is an issue that's highlighted in multiple documents and in multiple EU directives. So we have, I would say, three main elements of introducing participation in the Greek case. One is bottom-up, through social movements that worked mainly on urban environmental issues, and in a way try to influence plans and policies, and top-down from European or national projects, mainly in terms of consultation and as I described, for example, earlier, the case of SMPs, was a process that never in reality communicate with community associations or neighborhood movements. It is a question if this is participatory planning based on the terms that we have seen in the previous presentation, because in the first case, in the bottom up, we don't have any direct influence. Community movements and social movements act as pressure groups in order to change plans or ideas that, for example, municipality has. And in the second case, it is very questionable if the introduction of stakeholder engagement processes is a real participation, and it's something that is aligned with the vision of the participatory movement that evolved during the 60s and the 70s. Anyways, all these efforts gave rise to new groups and approaches of experimental research and design. We have seen some examples in your presentations earlier from your PhD students that we think that align in this overall direction. So we have initiatives from like DIY and tactical urbanism initiatives, several cases like in Parco Navarino in Athens, where local community tried to redesign an area that was property of the Technical Chamber of Greece, that wanted to create a parking area in this lot. Community reacted, and they, in a way, squatted the area, and they created a community park using community engagement methods and participatory initiatives. In a sense, we have many new efforts. I would say that applying multiple scales in common space, we have a lot of experience working with that. So we have four main categories of projects and initiatives. I would say the first one has to do with capacity building and training in participatory methods and approaches. So this has to do mainly with training members of municipalities, municipal officers, or any other persons from local administrations that want to introduce this kind of methodologies in their process and projects. We have many new digital tools that enable citizen engagement and participation. There's a whole huge discussion of how participation is integrated in many platforms in several projects in Greece, but also in Europe. We have the notion of community engagement and participation as part of sustainable development. And finally, we have it as part of the design of public spaces and overall spaces of local communities. I'm going to very briefly focus on two projects that have to do with the notion of strengthening local communities, introducing as a participation as a capacity building mechanism. The first one is called Localwatch, which is the citizen engagement platform, and the second one is a project called Public Participation Planning Project for the Sustainability of Greek Island of Gavdos. Localwatch is a project funded by Gianni Action Fund. Yes, Active Citizens Fund. So it's a funding initiative from Liechtenstein, Norway, and I think Iceland. Where it was facilitating Greece from Bodosaki Foundation. So in a sense, it's a platform that aspires to allow citizens to monitor the activities of the local representatives and to communicate directly with them, giving citizens the opportunity to experience a sense of participation, of inclusion, in a sense of improving daily life. So see it in a way as a social platform focused on local issues and engagement of local community. So lead partner was Localwatch, Common Space was also a partner, funding by ACA Funding Sim and Bodosaki Foundation. The project was launched in 2022, and it initiated many workshops in 4 municipalities, Athens, Thessaloniki, Irakli, and Patra. We had many participants from citizens group, minority groups, representatives of local administration. And the platform was launched in 2023 and is operational since then. The main components of the platform, so it's a digital tool in a sense. So it gives the opportunity to, through different elements like ask the politicians tab with share your ideas tab, co-creating a budget, participatory actions, and evaluate your municipality. So these are the main components of the platform. It is operational and it's has a lot of activity, particularly the previous months or during election periods. The second project is called, it took place in the remote island of Gavdos. For those that don't know, Gavdos is a small island in the south of Crete. And the project was called Participatory Planning Project for Sustainability of the Greek island of Gavdos. The project was funded by MOD, which is an agency that helps small-scale municipalities to function and do several operations. So the aim of the project is to create a sustainable development plan that included local communities and inhabitants, local actors and agents that were interested mostly in participating in cultural, local energy production, research and visitors communities. These were the main themes of the projects. The project implemented a toolkit that included interactive and participatory workshops, digital applications, and tailor-made questionnaires for all the practitioners, like the methodology of spatial SWOT analysis and other methodologies. So you can see some images from the workshops. That happened in the island. The project took place back in 2020. You can see how, with different mapping tools and engagement games, as we call it, we try to give participants the opportunity to share ideas and approaches for the development of the island. This is a matrix about stakeholder matrix with different responses in a variety of issues and themes. And the project led to the Sustainable Development Plan that was initiated in 2021. And until then, and for the next 2 years, it was the main document that facilitated development-oriented actions in the whole island. The next project that I will present is called, it's called Cultural Hydrant. And the main focus is how cultural participation would contribute to the reclamation of the public space. The project was funded as part of the European Urban Initiative project, and it had to do with the reclamation and the renovation of the Hydrant Aqueduct. The Hydrant Aqueduct in Athens is one of the most complex and impressive, I would say, works of the Roman period in Athens, constructed in 125 and between 125 and 140 AD. Built underground, you can see some details of the project, and this is a diagram from Manolis Kores that described how the whole infrastructure functioned. The total length of the aqueduct is 25 kilometers, starting from Mount Parnitha and reaching Kolonaki Square in downtown Athens. And it has a set of vertical wells dug every 30 or 40 meters that some are visible until today. A quick timeline of the project and how it was used. I'm not going to dwell into specifics. The last 6 years that the infrastructure is closed, and it was only used by municipality of Metamorphosis as part of its irrigation plan in 1999, but the wider area of the network is not functioning until today. So the idea of the project, what's called cultural hydrant, meaning cultural hidden identities reappear from networks of water. As I said, it was part of the European Urban Initiative. It was called Urban Innovative Actions back then, and aimed to promote sustainable urban development, coordinated by the municipality of Halandria with multiple other partners. The project aimed to create a test site in Halandria, which is a municipality in the north of Athens, part of the Hadria network, that can do three things: re-exploitate Hadrian water, so the water source, regenerate Hadrian roots in terms of culture and community, and create a new identity with urban gardens and co-transformation of public spaces. These are the main three axes of the project. It involved a very huge, I would say, participatory process with multiple stakeholders from local community, local authorities, and also EU authorities, as it was part of the EUI initiative. These are some data of the project. So the participation process had two main elements. It had the cultural one with many cultural activities, two festivals, 6 public presentations, 18 participatory actions in the municipality to redesign the spaces that were selected for renovations, and also included the participation of 13 school communities with more than 500 school students, teachers, and of course, parents. So all this process culminated in interventions in 4 areas in Halandria. You can see in this map the axis of the aqueduct. So in this axis, 3 areas were selected as areas where urban generation will take place. And the 4th one in the center of Halandria, linking also with Halandria stream and connected with the city center of the city. This is an example of the regeneration projects, the plans. And these are said included a multi-stakeholder project focused primarily on local school communities that were the main users of the area. So we have 4 schools in a sense that participated in the design projects, and 9 more that participated in the overall participation workshops. You can see some data in relation to the workshops. These are some examples of how we worked in terms of area analysis and identification, with giving the participants, I have to say that because this was done during COVID, this was done, there were many online sessions, that's why we worked a lot with Miro as a tool. And this is an example of questions and how people answered with workshops about ideas to design place and so on. One of the areas that Common Space focused was the design of schoolyards. So we initiated a process where people were given the opportunity to present ideas about how to improve space, what are the positive elements of the schoolyard, what are the negative ones, and introduce a variety of ideas. That led to a concept design that was later implemented by the technical service of the municipality. So in a sense, before finishing up, I would like to go back a bit on the beginning. That trying to say that we can see the participatory process in planning as a part of a wider, how to say it, vision, a wider approach on how to implement projects. So you can use it in a variety of directions, from strategy, from planning projects, for design projects, for governance, for a variety of issues and themes. And this, I think that it's very interesting for all those that we try to work on these issues, how participation can actually attach to a variety of processes and projects. Thank you. This was a very short introduction of with some projects, and I'm looking forward for questions or any other inquiries that you have.